Hello, I'm going to try to do a video comic post this week. So this is Comic Talk 21. I'm Josh, the guy who usually writes it, but today is talking it. So today I'm going to talk about the first one of the new 52 that I've read. It's Animal Man by Jeff Lemire, or Lemire. I'm going to call him Lemire. Animal Man is written by Jeff Lemire, and you know Jeff, or you should know Jeff from my previous posts if you don't already know him from his work in comics. I've written about his book Sweet Tooth, which is one of my favorite ongoing comics. It's excellent. You can see my posts. I'll put a link to it. And in addition to Sweet Tooth, before that, Jeff made a name for himself doing some indie comics. He wrote and drew what's called the Essex County trilogy, and he also has done the big thick book called The Nobody, which I haven't read, but I've heard pretty good things about, and I trust Jeff's work. Travel Foreman, who I admit I hadn't heard of before this, is doing the art for Animal Man. It's pretty good. I like it. Also, Travel has done some work at Marvel, and he's known for that. I had high hopes for Animal Man, as I said in another post, mainly because I'm already a big fan of Lemire's writing, but specifically because I know what Lemire can do with your expectations. He can take a character that you may not expect someone to be able to write a real story out of, or he takes some strange or obscure character, obscure to me at least, and turn it into something really actually impressive and interesting. So he did that, as I said in the previous post, with Ultra the Multi-Alien, which is a total surprise. He did it in, I don't know, 10 pages or less or something. Took a really bizarre old superhero from the DC universe and turned it into a really cool, interesting short sci-fi story. So I had high hopes for Animal Man as well, and not only is it part of the New 52, Animal Man is part of DC's big new thing, so not only for that reason did I have high hopes, because Jeff is involved as well, and he's taking another strange character on. So I definitely wasn't disappointed by this. I'll just say a quick word about the art. I think that it was fine throughout, competent. There's nothing to me that the art wasn't lacking in any way. It didn't blow my mind, but I think Travel Foreman is an extremely competent artist, and I think he's going to do well in Animal Man. Very easy on the eyes. Another thing I could say about the art is that Foreman's art really shines on a few pages. There's a sort of interesting kind of dream sequence type part in the first issue that I think that's where really that was the real point in the book where Foreman's art struck me. It really stood out in those pages. But I can say about the actual story itself, without ruining any of the major plot points, I think the first issue does a pretty good job of setting things up. I think that as far as the first issue goes, it doesn't feel like a relaunch or anything like that. It doesn't feel like Jeff Lemire doesn't treat this as a relaunch. He doesn't go into the details of Animal Man's powers and stuff like that. Kind of throws you into a world where Animal Man has this past that you learn a little bit about, where he was a superhero. He's kind of almost in semi-retirement or something right now, but he still has his powers. So you're kind of tossed into this, and you find out about a little bit about Animal Man's past, and you also find out just enough information, I think, in the last few pages for me to consider this a pretty strong first issue. I've heard from a few friends who've been reading other New 52 books that Animal Man wasn't their favorite that they read, but it was still good. For great things about Swamp Thing and Detective Comics in particular, so I'm going to check those out. But I'm overseas right now, so I have to buy my comics online, which is actually pretty cool now that you can do that. So it's at least a possibility that you can do that, and it's actually pretty nice reading the comics on the computer, and I've heard great things about reading them on iPad too. So anyway, Animal Man. I would definitely read it. Check it out. It's only $2.99. I think in print or online. I think it's the same price actually. Some more specifics, I guess you could say, criticisms that I have. Although I'm a fan of this book, I wasn't totally sold going through it initially the first time because I was getting hung up on small details like this seems like, and Jeff has said in interviews that he's going to focus a lot on Animal Man's family, and he can connect to the character because he is a family man. He has a very realistic side to him. So Jeff seems to be writing, playing to one of his strengths and writing him up as a kind of Animal Man as a real person, like kind of a believable guy. So sometimes it was a bit jarring to me. I mean, I know I'm reading a book called Animal Man, but sometimes it was a bit jarring. I found it like a bit funny too, as you're reading along, learning a little bit about this guy. He'll say he can take on the powers of different animals. That's what Animal Man does. He can draw elements from different animals and use their powers. So sometimes it's a bit funny when you're reading through, and he says things like, "Oh, I'm a bit tired, so I drew the power of a cat to take a nap, and I was out in seconds," or things like that. It was just a bit funny, but I think that the character, I mean, this is a book called Animal Man, so you have to expect that he's going to do Animal Man things, which is draw powers from animals. So it's something that it doesn't actually bother me. It was just an interesting contrast, I guess you could say, with the more realistic or everyday slice of life type sort of stuff that you'd see the other side of the book, the drama side of the book. But I think that in the last few pages, there's a strong enough hook that it's definitely going to make me pick up the next few issues to see what happens. I have to say I wasn't completely blown away by Animal Man or anything, but I do think it was a strong first issue, and I'm definitely interested in it. And because I trust Jeff Lemire's writing, I think, and from past experience, that he really has the potential to turn this into another great ongoing, which I'll look forward to. I think it'll also be great to see how Jeff balances the superhero stuff and what I imagine will be eventual tie-ins to the rest of the DC universe with the dramatic family side of the book. Because again, without giving any actual plot points away, the main twist in the book has to do with Animal Man's daughter, and so I'm interested to see how he balances the superhero stuff with the family drama stuff. And they're really tightly interwoven in this book anyway. So I hope you'll check it out. Leave me a comment. Please feel free also to leave me a comment about whether or not you think I should do more video posts or more text posts. Do you prefer to read or do you prefer to listen? I know the audio is not great, but hopefully you've been able to hear everything I've said. Thanks for watching.